What's going on, guys? It's Johnny with our Investing for Beginners team and our Learn to Earn team. So, welcome. I wanted to go live and showcase the Google earnings. They are reporting earnings now after the bell, and I wanted to go live and share that with you guys and cover it. So, we want to watch the market react together and kind of go from there, see what happens. And we are live streaming it. I thought it'd be cool to live stream this event, and we are a little behind schedule. It looks like it already reported. I wanted to get on the computer a little bit earlier, but yeah, nonetheless, we are live now. I hope you guys can hear me okay, see me okay. All right. So let's see what happens as Google reports earnings, how the market reacts. It could either be very bullish or very bearish, and we're going to go over some more information that will help you determine whether the market is going to be bullish or if it's going to be bearish tomorrow starting out. Because real quickly, I wanted to bring up our QQQ. It looks like it went all the way down to $600. So it is bouncing off of a $600 support for the NASDAQ market. Now it has been at a $600 support previously back on December 17th. So we could see some very interesting, something very interesting happen, right? The markets can react well and begin to push up back to those highs of 638, 640. Or this is just the beginning of what could be more selling pressure. Now, for all of you who are part of the LTE team, you know that we traded live this morning together, and we've talked a little bit about this in our morning live streams at Market Open. If you guys want to join that and watch, that is the first link in the description to join our LTE team Discord. But nonetheless, markets have sold off from that resistance level, down about 5.89%, almost 6% sell-off in the last couple of days, which has drove a lot of companies down with it. Companies like SoFi selling off, Netflix selling off, Hood selling off, even Oracle selling off, Nvidia selling off. So a lot of companies are in a selling phase. Apple is holding up very well. AMD selling off, down 17%. Google, though, it actually, very interesting enough, sold off to $308, right? So it did report its earnings. It pushed up slightly to 342 for Google, pushed all the way down to 308, and it's now back up to 336. So what a crazy reaction, down 7% and then recovering literally in just a few minutes. So Google did report their earnings, so we're going to go ahead and look at that. It looks like Google posted their earnings of $102 billion in revenue, up 16% year over year, and their EPS is $2.87, crushing the estimates of $2.27, a 26% surprise. Now, this is also the first ever $100 billion quarter driven by double-digit growth across search, YouTube ads, and cloud. So that is pretty amazing. AI momentum accelerating. Gemini app hit 650 million monthly users, with queries tripling for Q2. This has overall helped with that growth. Cloud AI revenue grew 200% year over year. And let's see, what else here? So let's see, I could probably screenshot this. So they did report their earnings 18 minutes ago. Let's go ahead and pull this up. So Alphabet earnings are out. Here's the key figures. Revenue of 113.83, EPS 282. So yeah, $111 billion in revenue, 15% growth, year over year growth, 21%. So guidance for Q1 was anticipated to be 103.9 billion in revenue with a 253 estimate. So it beat its expected earnings. Now up 4% in the after hours session, which is amazing. And then Alphabet earnings beat on top and bottom line, but shares were down literally 7% initially when the report came out. They're projecting 180 billion in capital expenditures in 2026. Wow, look at this, pushing up 4.5%, almost 5%. Smash that like button for me, guys. I want you guys to know that I don't mind going live more often. If you guys want to see this type of content, I can go live for you. Let's see here. And I am not buying any Google right now. It's not at a price point that I would want to buy. You know, buying the dip at 300 would have been nice momentarily, but you know, I would have loved to buy more around 150 to maybe even $200 would be nice. Now Google, you know, it could possibly have a reversal and we could begin to sell off a little, but this is very strong. I mean, this could continue to push higher. Okay, there's no signs of an actual sell-off. So I would not necessarily buy at these overbought levels, but Google is very strong right now. It's very strong. Let's see, it had a high of 349, so all-time high of 349 currently. You know, does have revenue. You know, it prints money, $124 billion in net profits. So Google, you know, is definitely a solid company, but that doesn't mean it has to stay at this level. See, it just bounced off of that resistance level of around 350. 349.75. There we go. 349.75. So it bounced literally right off of that level. Sold off to 308, pushed up to 348. Basically 349. So we'll see how it goes here. But I'm loving it right now. It's really cool to hang out with you guys and watch the market react. Let's see how the market is reacting. Market pushed up to 610, from $600 to 610 in a matter of, you know, half of the day. Lows of 600 at about 1051 to now about 430. It's pushed up 1.5% or $10 per share. So the market is reacting very well. Let's see. AMD trying to push higher after a pretty aggressive sell-off. AMD is down 17% today. Man, from yesterday's close, it's down 17% for AMD. Now at $200. Now let's see, does it hold around $200? Potentially bouncing off of this support level. It's been at $200 before multiple times. 1, 2, 3, and now 4 times at $200 before pushing up to highs of, you know, $220, $230, even $260. So AMD could potentially be a nice little dip buy opportunity. All right, wow. QQQ, let's see, does it push up a little higher? Definitely could. And let me know, is there any companies you guys would be interested in me looking at or reviewing? And I'd love to know, what are you guys watching, you know, in general? That'd be cool to know. Let's see here, what else? What other news is there? Now it's crazy that Google, right? They saw an initial 7% drop, right? but now it's slightly in the red, around 2%, or slightly in the green. So that was a nice 9% move to the upside. 13%. That was a 13% move. The initial 7% sell-off, pushing up 13%, and now it's well, selling off again. It's down about 3% currently for Google. Alphabet is definitely leaning fully into AI and aiming to pick up massive market shares in Google Cloud. Let's see, what else? All right, so let's give the bull case and the bear case. We'll go ahead and screenshot this as well. This is just some information I'm finding. Let's see, let's close it down a little bit. We can still see the stock move. So the bull case, AI monetization proving out. Gemini app reached 750 million monthly active users, validating consumer AI adoption at scale. Humana deployed Vertex AI for 20,000 plus member advocates, demonstrating revenue conversion beyond hype. Cloud acceleration continues. Google Cloud grew 48%, outpacing Azure and expanding operating margins. Earnings growth continues. Now, what's the bear case? Why skeptics see risk? Revenue miss signals demand concern. Missing revenue estimates by 0.8% raises questions about search saturation and YouTube growth stability or sustainability. CapEx guidance increases. 2026 guidance of 175 to 185 billion represents a 230 to 250% increase over 2024. Reflecting aggressive AI infrastructure investments and valuation metrics, trading at a 34 times earnings with 2026 guidance. So that's interesting. Other than that, you know, Google delivered its first 100 billion revenue quarter. Earnings per share is $3, which beats its estimate by 33%. Google Cloud accelerated at 34% growth. You know, Google's a well-ran company. You know, they have a ton of profits. Google is one of those companies that I would not mind buying into, right, and holding long term. It's a solid company. It's ran very well. Doesn't mean I'd buy some right now at the 300, 330s. But it is a nice company to have in your long-term investment accounts. These are definitely elevated levels for sure. PE is 32x. Outbull is about 35. Amazon's around 32. So it's very similar to the others. Yeah. Is there any companies you guys would like me to take a look at as well? I can. Let's see here. I'm just looking at my other screen to see if there's any news or anything else related to this. Saying that it had a strong growth in cloud services and search revenue despite YouTube underperforming. And they're going to spend significant capital on AI. Let's see, they do pay a dividend. Google, a lot of people don't know that Google does pay a dividend now. It's about a 0.25% dividend yield per year, so less than 1%. And it's about 84 cents 84 cents a share per year. So that's interesting. Oh, who else reported? Qualcomm. Qcom. They also reported now. Oh man, they're down 9%. They are down 9%. 10% at the lowest. Wow. This company stock dives as memory chip shortage weighs on outlook. So that's not good. A memory chip shortage. Let's see. The fourth quarter season momentum continues this week with results from, of course, Alphabet, Amazon, AMD, Qcom or Qualcomm, Palantir. Wow. Also, this week, investors, well, you and I will hear other companies like Disney, Chipotle, PepsiCo, Uber, and Snapchat all report their earnings. But Qualcomm stock dives as memory chip shortage weighs. Let's go ahead and we'll share this with you guys. You guys can take a look. Well, I don't know why it keeps going really big like this. But Qualcomm stock dives. Memory chip shortage weighs on financial outlook. Stock fell around 8% now in overnight hours after the chip designer's results beat on the top and bottom line, but its forecast was lighter than expected. A memory chip shortage stemming from data center developers scooping up chips and chip makers shifting production to cater to AI demand added pressure to the company's outlook. Wow. Company said revenue increased 5% year over year, while earnings per share rose to $2.78. Qualcomm beat analyst estimates on the top and bottom line, with estimates forecasting $12 billion in revenue and earnings per share of 2.75, according to S&P Global Market Intelligence. So it beat earnings, but it's dropped over 9%. Isn't that crazy? Disney, let's see, Walt Disney. Now, Walt Disney pushed up from 103 to 108. That's very interesting. Up, what, 4.5%? That's amazing. That's amazing for Disney. Let's see if we can catch anything here. Disney hopes for smoother CEO transition. Disney CEO pick brings theme park video games to foreground. So kind of switching from, probably trying to have more video game like rides like Universal Studios. I went to Disney, like 15 years ago. I think they were doing Shrek, and that was cool. That was somewhat like Universal, where like the chair moves and they spray like mist water on you, and it's really like an interactive ride. But I mean, nothing compared to Universal Studios. Those are super fun as well. I went on the Spider-Man ride, and when Spider-Man was throwing, or the Green Goblin was like throwing fireballs, you could feel the heat on your face. The Mummy ride, it was all pitch black in darkness. That one was really cool. When like the bugs from the Mummy come in, like you could feel them like moving and like touching your legs and stuff. That was pretty cool. So Disney could be an interesting company to buy the dip on, right? Right there at 101, finding support around 101, 102. Could push up to 118, 116. Might actually add this to our long-term play here. 107, not bad. Meta also somewhat selling off here. Interesting. Microsoft holding around 412. Tesla sold off sub 400 for a moment in time, you could have picked up Tesla with at $3.99. So you could have bought Tesla with a 3 in front of that investment, $3.99, lowest it's been in a little while. Back since November of last year, it was around $380. So it went from 380 and pushed up all the way to 500, just sub 500, 499. It pushed up literally 30% in 30 days. That's 1% a day, up $113 a share. And then since that peak of 500, it's sold off about 20% in about 42 days. So just as fast as it pushed up for Tesla, it sold right back off. Could be a nice little dip buy opportunity here. It's going to be retesting the moving average around, what is that, 379? So that would be interesting to see. See what VWAP is doing. It's currently below the VWAP. Elon Musk net worth hits 852 billion thanks to the SpaceX XI merger, Tesla pay package. Elon Musk economy consolidation saying, is Tesla SpaceX merger coming? That'll be interesting to see. Is SpaceX going to be its own company, or is it going to merge into Tesla? Very interesting. QQQ holding up to what, 605, 608 right now. Netflix did push up a little bit. Wow, interesting. Hood dropped below to $77. Now trying to hold above 80 bucks for Hood. Netflix at 80. SoFi came down to $20. Nice little dip buy opportunity for sure. Wow, crazy. See if it can hold around this level. $20 per share for SoFi. Let's see, PayPal. Let's talk about PayPal. PayPal hits sub $40, $39.96. We'll see if it holds that level here for PayPal. It's up to $41 now, but huge sell-off from PayPal from $54 down to $40. That was a 25% loss, 25% sell-off overnight. That is insane, guys. So PayPal taking a hit as well. PayPal's been selling off for a while, but this gap down is huge. Huge gap down on PayPal. They do produce an income of 27 million. So yeah, I just wanted to get on, and for anyone who was interested in Google or Google Alphabet, there it was. That was our live stream for it. Got to capture some of the move here. We got to see it get rejected off of 348. Seems to be holding around 343 after hours, up about 3%. So we'll see how it kind of reacts over the next few minutes. I'm open to any questions or anything like that. Also, we can take a look at what we have left for earnings this week, as now it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday the 4th, but we still got a couple more days of the trading week. Go ahead and take a look. Weekly economic calendar. There we go. We'll pull up our Discord. And you guys can watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow morning by simply subscribing to the YouTube channel, smashing this like button, and also clicking the first link in the description to get set up with our LTE team. But yeah, Alphabet, we could look at ARM. We looked at Qualcomm. So we can go and check out ARM. tomorrow after close is going to be Amazon and Strategy, right? MSTR. So I'm excited about those two. Also, they have like Roblox reporting earnings, Reddit, Affirm, Mchip or Microchip, Barrick Gold. That'll be interesting to see. Friday, it looks like Toyota will be reporting their earnings. But yeah, crazy week. Disney reported their earnings on Monday, Palantir as well, PayPal, AMD, SMCI, Chipotle, Pfizer, Pepsi Cola. So a lot of earnings this week for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at ARM, because they reported their earnings. ARM with the initial sell-off, trying to recover though slightly here from what looks like a 106 at close down to 90. That was a 14% sell-off. Now it's only down about 7.5%, so not too bad on ARM, but it's definitely down. Yeah, we've been tracking this company for a while. As you can see with all the lines, let's clear some of these lines up. There we go. So it looks like 95 was a previous support, even around $80 was a previous support. I'd say between like 80 and 85. And yeah, looks like a high of 164 to 189. So that's very interesting to see. So yeah, ARM Holdings. This is a semiconductor. Basically, they architect, develop, and license high-performance, high-efficiency ARM compute platforms like CPU, graphic processors. Okay, interesting. Interesting. All right, and that's really gonna wrap it up. I was hoping we get a little bit more people here on the live stream. But it's a weird day. It's a Wednesday at almost 3 o'clock. So we're going to have the kids coming in from school soon. And yeah. But either way, I hope this video helped you in some way. Just kind of know and understand the market reacting in a somewhat positive way, of course. Let's see. We'll go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin dropped again from those support levels of 72.9, touching 72,000. So that is an insane drop. We'll see if it drops lower than that. 72,083. So I got my alert set to see if it drops lower. I'll also set an alert to see if it goes above, about 76 for some more upward momentum. MSTR struggling, guys. MSTR just went down to 121, pushed back up to test this moving average, and it's actually selling off again in the overnight hours. We did make about 2% on this sell-off. I mean, this was a huge sell-off today for MSTR again from pre-market. It sold off about 8%, which means MSTZ pushed up incredibly today. We captured a move here, a very small move. I was trying to get a 2050 average. I ended up having a 2083 average, but catching it at 2050 during the pre-market session, riding it up to $23 on MSTZ. That's a 12% move, or $2.4 or $2.50 per share. So to put that into perspective, if you had 100 shares at $20.50 average price, you would have made $250 today holding it from these lows to this high on just 100 shares. Very nice. Pushed up to $23, came all the way back down to 2070, 2050. So it's all about, trailing stop losses for sure. We could go ahead and take a look real quick at where my trade was this morning. You can go back and watch it. It was captured live this morning at market open. But yeah, I mean, I did not do a good job holding this long enough. I bought in this area, right, around 280s, 290s. And then I sold literally at 21.16. So we locked in 2%. but I missed out on 10% of that move. An additional 10% of the move, guys. Look at that. So I need to learn how to hold a little longer when these trades end up playing out. But nonetheless, locked in a few dollars. It was like about 10 bucks. Looks like $9. We officially locked in on a very small trade. I mean, it was less than, it was like $400 or $500. It wasn't a whole lot. But either way, still, green, locked in some profits nonetheless. Also have our swing trades, which of course aren't doing the greatest. Our swing trades are actually doing really bad. I have an average share price. I mentioned to our LTE team that I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So we can for just a moment, and then I'll make probably a better video updating it. But buying here as it flatlined, so we have an average share price of 106.99, considering buying a couple more down at this $80 level, just to bring the average down a little more. AGNC do have 30 shares. We are building this up to 100 share position, so that'll be nice. This is a monthly dividend paying stock, and its dividend yield is around 12% a year. So literally making 1% a month on this, depending on how many shares you own. That's why I'd like to get it to 100 shares. That way we could make, like 12 bucks a month just holding this, which would actually then create a nice little snowball effect to where each month I could reinvest the $12 in dividends and buy an additional share. So then it would be 101, 102, 103, so forth and so on. But my average is 1181 currently, and it looks like it's bouncing right off of this previous support level of around $11, now currently up to 1149, which is pretty nice to see. I think we're still somewhat down. We're down about $9.50 on this, but not bad. I mean, it's not a bad trade, especially if we're going to be holding this a little bit more long term, averaging down into it. Like for an example, I could buy 10 shares right now. We'll just buy one just to showcase, the effects of that. What is it at 11.49? Asking's 11.55. So we'll go to 11.55 here. We'll just do one share to showcase that, we can buy it. Okay, we did buy one. So it brought it down to 11.81 or 11.80. So we'll buy some more. I just wanted to showcase that in the live stream that, we can still buy in these areas. I should have just bought 10 shares. I don't know what the point of buying one share was. Oh, well, we could buy some more later during market hours if this pulls back. I wanted to buy more like around the $11 range, but 11.50 is not too bad. And then Hood, we just talked about that, down 7% on the day. Hood has been a crazy company. We're actually down almost 25% on this position. So that is not good for Hood. But again, wouldn't mind buying some more, as this would bring the average down as well. Maybe get 10, 20 shares, because this has definitely some good upside to it, which we can go on about in a later video. Netflix, again, buying into Netflix. Again, only about 6 shares. I want to build up a 10 to 20 share position, but I'm going to wait to see if, does this hold support here actually, or does this begin to sell off more? Down about 6% on that one. So not too crazy compared to Hood. And then SoFi. We got 10 shares of SoFi. We bought again at these highs. Market's been selling off. Looks like it may potentially dip around $20. $20 could potentially be the support. So I wouldn't mind buying a few more of SoFi. But as you can see here, SoFi down 4% today. Overall down 10%. So our swing trades are not playing out as I would have liked them to. Just real quick, easy dip buy, and it pushes all the way up. But right now, it looks like we're gonna have to hold these just a little bit longer to get those, to lock in those profits. So that is what's happening with this. Did I show you guys my AGNC? Oh yeah, that we were down like 2%. So AGNC is actually our company that we are down the least. But yeah, if you guys were interested in that, you know, let me know if you think that was cool or not. I've been talking to our LTE team about, you know, showcasing the swing trades. I wasn't able to showcase them this morning in the live stream, but we did trade and short crypto. We shorted Bitcoin today. We shorted MSTR. Beautiful move. We just talked about that, right? I captured a 2% profit on a small move and missed 10%. So that is unfortunate, but we always have tomorrow to trade again. Market reacting very well. Google, again, initial 7% sell-off, pushing up 13%, and now it's only up about 2% in the overnight hours. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, QQQ not really reacting all that crazy. Now it did bounce right off of $600, pushed up to 610, which, you know, would be a nice resistance level, right? Supports do tend to turn into resistance levels and vice versa. A support can turn into a resistance can turn into a support. But yeah, bouncing off of 600 from where it bounced previously, if we go back to the 4-hour, $600 has been a area of consolidation as well as a pretty strong support previously, pretty much for the whole year. So we'll see, does it hold above 600, or do we get more selling pressure moving into tomorrow? So I'll update you guys in the Discord if I see anything new happening. I'm going to set my alert to 612 as it did bounce off of 610. I guess I could put it to 610, and we'll see if we get any more upside reaction. And then I'll set my alert at around 600 to see if it drops below 600 if we get any more downside. So yeah, we could see some more bullish. We could start to see some more bullish trend happening now as earnings season at least is starting to come to an end, or we can see some more bearish trend continuing to happen. So excited to see what happens tomorrow, guys. Thank you for your time. Looks like we have people beginning to tune in now toward the end of the live stream. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that was our live Google earnings report for 2026. If you guys want me to do more of these, smash the like button. Let me know in the comments that you would like to see more earnings reports live. You know, usually they'll report earnings either before market open or after market close. So I wouldn't mind doing more of these. It was fun. And yeah, we got to kind of react to the market not only this morning and trade it at market open, but we also got to see how it reacts at market close. So yeah, appreciate your guys' time. Remember to smash the like button, and like always, let's end the year on a green note. See you later, guys.